What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay updated with Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about something that I want to know your opinion on. So if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, comment it down below. Let me know what you were thinking, because this is something that is completely up to the opinion of Ravens fans and up to the Ravens front office. This isn't a factual thing or anything like that. This is an opinion, because I'm going to be talking about Brandon Williams, one of the faces of the Baltimore Ravens defense, one of the faces of the Baltimore Ravens franchise for the last, near decade. He's been a big part of this team, a big part of this team's culture. But I think a lot of people have recognized that this year, Brandon Williams, the nose tackle, has not been the same guy that he's been in years past. Obviously, he still has the same weaknesses that he always had. He's not crazy athletic. He's not a pass rusher, anything like that. Like, he's not going to chase anybody down. But that's not something that anybody was expecting from him this year. So when I talk about like Brandon Williams not being the same guy that he used to be, that's not saying he ever was a guy that was a 5-10 sack guy in the NFL that could just go out there and really rush the passer. That's okay, and it's okay that he wasn't. Brandon Williams' role was to be the plug. Okay. He was the guy that clogged those holes and made sure that running backs couldn't get through. And he took up blockers and allowed everybody else to be in one-on-ones, especially in the run game. But this year, that just hasn't seemed to be the case yet. And he's not really stopping the run. And obviously, he can't rush the passer. So what is he doing out there? It seems like a lot of times when the Ravens have Brandon Williams out there, he's just there and he's not contributing to this team. So that begs the question, is it time for the Ravens to stop using him? Do they go with the young guys and Justin Madubuike and Broderick Washington? Now, obviously, with those guys, they can sub in Odafe Oweh on the edge. They can get Derek Wolfe inside. They can get Calais Campbell to play inside, the 3-tech and everything like that. Like, a lot of guys can sub in. But Brandon Williams would basically be kind of shifting out of the formation. Now, obviously, if he still got benched, and if you believe he should get benched, that doesn't mean he would never play. Okay. He would still get out there. If it's, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you're playing against the Titans, you're playing against maybe a team like the Browns or something, like, yeah, you may still want him, because like, if the Ravens believe that the strategy to stop them is to just completely clog up the holes, he's probably still the best bet for that. However, he's not as good as what he once was. And, if you don't believe me, I know he's like one of the lowest graded defensive linemen when it comes to not only pass rushing, but also when it comes to stopping the run. Right now, his PFF grade sitting at a 43.5, which is really bad. And last year, he finished with a 67.2. So, like, he's just not getting the production that he used to have. And that there could be plenty of reasons for it. One of them could just be that he's getting older. But I'm going to say that I don't think it's time to move on from him yet. I still think that he can be a valuable part to this defense. And I'm not somebody that says, like, get rid of him yet. I think the Ravens still need to figure out, they've got a lot of problems on this defense. And I feel like he is a guy that you kind of know what you're going to get. Like, while it may not be amazing, he does have the ability to take up blockers and things like that. And he could, get that back into his game. Like, maybe he's just hit a rough patch. This bye week has been huge for the Ravens because they've been able to basically regain what they want to try and do. They've been able to self-analyze everything and figure out, hey, what kind of team do we want to be? Do we want to be not just defensively, do we want to be a run-heavy team? Do we want to establish our game, slow the game down, wear them down, play solid defense? Or do we want to be an explosive offense that throws the ball deep and uses Lamar Jackson and everything like that? And then on the defensive side of the ball, do we want to be a blitz-heavy team like we have in years past? Or do we want to shift up the scheme and maybe go a little bit more coverage-based, conservative defensive play calling? A lot of things to analyze, and that also comes with the players and analyzing how they're playing and getting back to what they do. Brandon Williams very well could still have some monster games this season. And I am not ready to count him out, because I think he being out there, one, teams recognize who Brandon Williams is. Okay, even though he's no longer the player that he used to be. when you see a guy that is 330 pounds in the middle, you recognize that. The offensive coaches, they recognize that. And so when they're making play calls and they say, oh, where do we want to go? And they see Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell kind of clogging the middle, that kind of incentivizes them to not go there. And I think that that's massive. And I think that that's an underappreciated part of a guy like Brandon Williams' game, where you can't get that part of the grade, where teams avoid that duo of Calais and Brandon Williams because they're just so big and they take up so much space that it's hard to run through those gaps. And thus they start running to the outside, and then it comes down to Justin Houston, Odafe Oweh, Tyus Bowser, Pernell McPhee, Derek Wolfe as he comes back. A lot of players, obviously, that are playing on the outside. And I think that is a big thing that we all as Ravens fans need to recognize, is even though he's not playing at the same quality that he used to play, he's still making an impact, I believe. If you disagree with me, completely okay. Let me know if you have any thoughts on like my kind of theory that like he's still making a difference in adjusting teams' play calling, because you don't want to run the ball up the middle if Brandon and Calais are going to be right there. So when it's 4th and 1 and 3rd and really short, and teams would typically come out in goal line, try and pound it up the middle, maybe they call a passing play, maybe they try and get it to the outside. And when you have guys that take up the amount of blockers that Calais and Brandon do, it allows a player like an Odafe Oweh or a Tyus Bowser off the edge who have great speed to get in the backfield and hit some players and things like that. So even though Brandon Williams is not playing at the same level that he used to, I still think that he has a key role on this team. Justin Madubuike, though, I think obviously should be used in passing situations. Brandon Williams should not be out there. And he typically isn't when it's a pretty obvious passing situation. Like even sometimes on 1st and 10 and things like that, unless the Ravens are playing against, like I said, the Browns or the Titans, or maybe even the Steelers, teams that really like to pound the ball up the middle, maybe keep Brandon Williams out there. But when they go up against teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, or they go up against teams like the LA Rams, I know they play the Packers, it's not worth, in my opinion, having him out there consistently, because they just don't really want to get the ball up the middle, which is the only place that he can be effective. Because if they run it to the outside, a guy like Justin Madubuike has shown he's made multiple plays shedding either the center or the guard that's trying to block him, getting to the outside, getting to the C gap, or whatever, if they're running, all the way outside the tight end, or if they're going in between the tackle and the tight end, the C gap. He's been able to actually get there. Brandon Williams isn't going to get there. So when you're playing against an outside zone scheme or anything like that, it's not worth having Brandon out there. But I feel like that doesn't mean that he should be done. And I think a lot of Ravens fans are kind of wanting him to be gone. I don't think he'll be here next year or anything like that. But I think this year the Ravens can still get some good use out of him. I'm not ready to say that they need to bench him, but let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Is it time to bench Brandon Williams, or is he still going to be able to be that guy for the Ravens, or at least for the rest of the year? Thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.